The Fed, the OCC, and the FDIC just announced something absolutely massive, and we have to talk about it. And of course, yes, it does pertain back to this announcement here as well with Ripple, which is, of course, crypto derivatives now being listed and tapped in on Coinbase Derivatives Exchange. We have here, of course, Ripple now offers clients access to crypto derivatives listed on Coinbase Derivatives Exchange and cleared by Nodal Clear. Now, obviously, a lot of people are saying that this doesn't pertain back to XRP at all. It doesn't include XRP because, it's cleared by Nodal Clear. However, it's not telling us where it's being settled, but I would argue that considering the fact that this is a Ripple integration with Coinbase Derivatives Exchange, XRP is most likely not going to be included in this in a big way. However, I do think that it's getting a little bit overlooked that this is also tied back to Ripple Prime. So we have here from Bank XRP that Ripple Prime clients now have access to the full suite of Coinbase derivatives contracts cleared by Nodal Clear. This expanded access is facilitated through Hidden Road, acquired by Ripple last year, bringing CFTC-regulated 24/7 trading to institutions globally. Now, if we do remember the announcement of this acquisition, yes, Brad Garlinghouse did say that XRP holders can expect the $3 trillion per year that is moved through Hidden Road, now Ripple Prime. We could expect a large piece of that to move over the XRP ledger at some point in the future. He didn't give us a date or anything like that, but if we're thinking about that, then obviously this could have some exposure to XRP because we do have Ripple Prime being tapped in here. Now, we also have down here from Bank XRP, Coinbase Derivatives is expanding access via Ripple Prime, formerly Hidden Road CIV, after clearing over $3 trillion in 2025. And Ripple acquired FCM is bringing institutional grade prime brokerage and clearing to the forefront of the market. Now, the best part about all of this is derivatives, because I do think that the crypto derivatives side of the market is so minuscule compared to the global derivatives market itself. We've been talking about it. We've been addressing it. We actually just made a video regarding this because it's a multi-$100 trillion plus market. And some even said that it was well over $1 quadrillion. And it's a massive market. So we love to see this. Obviously, this market is most likely going to grow in a big way. But Ripple, Coinbase, and Nodal Clear all working together. It's awesome to see. And of course, yes, Ripple Prime being tapped in does provide some sort of access to XRP, in my opinion. I don't know exactly how this is going to work, but I do see that there could be some connections back to, XRP. There's nothing in the actual press release that mentions XRP beyond the idea that just like it's talking about contracts here, which is like more so trades and things like that. But we do have Ripple Prime being mentioned. So I definitely think that we could see some sort of connection back to the XRP ledger. But it's hard to say, for certain at this point, because we don't have that confirmation in front of us. We don't have that written breakdown of saying like, hey, yeah, this is going to also integrate with the XRP ledger. We don't have that. But still, it's great to see that we're seeing a major collaboration across the industry. Now, beyond that, let's go over here talking about derivatives, talking about, trillions and quadrillions of dollars. The DTCC, who does settle over $3.8 quadrillion per year, they announced back in the end of February, they were talking about $100 trillion in assets on tokenization. Once you tokenize your assets, you can move collateral at the speed of the network anywhere, anytime. Now, this is from Nadine Shakar. She does want to bring $100 trillion on chain. Like she said it multiple times, that she wants to bring $100 trillion on chain, fully tokenize it so that it can move at the speed of the network anywhere, anytime. And also, fractionalized ownership and things like that. It opens so many huge doors of opportunities. And of course, yes, this is a global head of DTCC digital assets on the next evolution of the market rails. So when she is talking, you definitely listen. Check it out.
Talk to us a little bit about the conversations you've been having around the summit and what it means to be at this point in the industry. We'll start with you, Nadine.
Tokenization is the topic du jour, not just at its conference, but everywhere in the industry. And it's really starting to feel real. We've been talking about this for so long that we're seeing really good traction, adoption, real projects coming to life, and those are the conversations we're having. There's also a big shift right now where clients in the market are starting to see the value of digital technology, the new rails, tokenization, and sometimes you've got to lead the way a little bit, and this is what we did at DTCC. So we showed people the value of once you tokenize your assets, you can move collateral at the speed of the network, anywhere, anytime, whether it's 2 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So, and that started to capture people's imagination to say, okay, hold on, I can do things better, faster, cheaper, I can make things more efficient, I can open up the aperture of my investment strategies to people that historically wouldn't be able to afford these type of instruments.
And yeah, I mean, listen, the benefits here around tokenization and just moving things on chain, it's extremely significant. I don't think people realize, or maybe they just don't listen to some of these videos. But I think that these videos are so important to listen to because they're not coming from some random creator in the crypto space. They're not coming from, an influencer or anything like that. It's coming from these players that run we're talking about multi-quadrillion dollar, pieces of a company. Now, yeah, she's a part of the digital asset space of the DTCC, but again, the DTCC is settling $3.8 quadrillion per year. So I would argue that the digital asset side of the DTCC is probably going to expand rapidly. They want to bring $100 trillion in assets on chain. So again, when you hear these types of conversations, when you get that, that confirmation from these types of names, yeah, it's best to pay attention. But on top of that, let's address the topic of the video, which is, yes, the OCC, the FDIC, and also even the Fed just announced this. The capital rule is technology neutral. An eligible tokenized security should generally receive the same capital treatment as the non-tokenized form of security under the capital rule. This is big, and I'm going to talk about exactly why here in a moment, but I want to go back to the DTCC because remember, they settle $3.8 quadrillion per year in securities transactions. So this is a big deal if the DTCC wants to move that money on chain. Now, here's the full breakdown. Big shout out to Bull Theory for this. This is massive for the crypto market. America just unlocked trillions of dollars for crypto through tokenization. Here's what actually happened. Imagine Apple stock existing as a digital token on a blockchain. Same ownership, same legal rights, same value, just in a new digital format. That's a tokenized security. The Fed, the OCC, and the FDIC issued a joint announcement. Every US bank can now hold these tokens on their balance sheet with zero regulatory penalty. That's right. Banks just got the green light from the Fed, the OCC, and the FDIC all at once. 3 immediate changes. Number 1, banks can use tokenized securities as collateral for loans, the same as regular stocks or bonds, no difference in regulators' eyes. Number 2, it doesn't matter whether the token lives on a public blockchain like Ethereum or a private one. The same rules apply either way. And number 3, any financial derivative linked to a tokenized asset is treated exactly like traditional derivatives. Why this matters for crypto. Trillions of dollars in stocks, bonds, and real estate were sitting off-chain waiting for this green light. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, they weren't afraid of blockchain. They were afraid of regulatory uncertainty. That uncertainty just vanished. The world's largest pools of money now gave permission to move on to the blockchain. And yeah, if we look at the full breakdown here, this is the highlighted key pieces. So accordingly, an eligible tokenized security should be treated in the same manner as the non-tokenized form of the security would be treated under the capital rule. Similarly, a derivative that references an eligible tokenized security should be treated for capital purposes as a derivative that references the non-tokenized form of the security. Then, of course, at the bottom, we have a question. Would the capital treatment of tokenized securities depend on whether the token are issued on permissioned or permissionless blockchains? And no, the capital rule does not provide a different treatment based on the use of permissioned or permissionless blockchains. Guys, this is a massive, and I mean a massive update we absolutely need to be paying attention to the moves that are happening right now from the OCC, the Fed, and even the FDIC. We talked about it back in 2025. They all gave the green light to banks to hold crypto. Now they just gave another massive green light. And this one, well, this one could unlock trillions and trillions of dollars. We already know that JP Morgan, right? Jamie Dimon recently just said in an interview that they moved trillions of dollars in one single day over their private blockchain. Well, guess what? They no longer have to work on a private blockchain. They can now tap in on a public blockchain. Now, on top of that, we have over here, big shout out to Bank XRP for this. This is happening on April 16th because, again, on par with everything that we just went over, the SEC Gov has announced a roundtable on April 16th, 2026 to discuss the evolving landscape of the U.S. listed options market. The discussion will focus on boosting competition, improving the retail customer experience, and growth opportunities and challenges. Every single one of these organizations, every single major regulator is now talking about and addressing tokenization. It's almost as if all of the big players in the traditional financial space want to move on chain, and now they're getting that, green light. It's crazy to witness this all at the same time, but this is exactly why I keep saying that there's so much happening here, but most people are oblivious to it because they don't care anymore because price action sucks. However, we're seeing the biggest confirmation across the board of what's to come, which is hundreds of trillions of dollars moving on chain with these underlying assets and networks like the XRP Ledger and XRP being the gasoline for them to move. I mean, it's not even just the gasoline. I would argue that it's the gasoline and also the roads. That's what the digital asset and also the actual ledger provides. XRP is the gas. The actual ledger is the road. And again, think about how big this is. Think about how big this space will be in the next, I want to say, just say 4 years, by 2030. Think about how big this space actually will be. Now, on top of that, we go back to this breakdown from Genfinity, right? This is from King Solomon. The DTCC patent that he found shows XRP and XLM listed as digital liquidity tokens in a framework for global asset tokenization. It shows integration of XRP and XLM as compatible networks within a cross-ledger liquidity framework. And this is very, very important because, again, the DTCC clears $3.8 quadrillion per year and holds in custody. It's no longer 87 trillion. It's actually $100 trillion in assets. So this is a very, very significant push here because the DTCC is actively pushing to move on chain in a big way. And we know that both Ripple with XRP, because we do have Ripple on the right side there, right? You can see it. Ripple with XRP and Stellar with XLM can easily be tapped in. They're listed here in the patents, which means that the DTCC is aware of both of these assets and both of these networks. Guys, this is massive. At the same exact time that we're getting the clear confirmation that these big players can now move on chain, and that also means that the DTCC can move on chain in a big way as well. We also are reminded of this patent. Guys, it doesn't get more bullish than this. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video.